Once again, the ultimatum shows us that you too can participate in foolishness for the low price of heartache and misery. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Alicia here, and we are talking about The Ultimatum Season 3 Episode 6. We need to get into it, y'all. So it's the final week of the trial marriages, and we start with the aftermath of ladies and guys night. We start with Scotty and Zaina, and y'all, the way Scotty was looking at Zaina when he first got home, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was making me uncomfortable, because I was like, oh, who are you looking at like that? Like, I don't know if I feel like, quite honestly, y'all, I feel like he was trying to intimidate her into giving him the answers that he was looking for. Like, I feel like he was treating that as like a gotcha moment, and like he was going to stare her down until she cracked under the pressure and was like, it was me, I did it, I told JR that you were out here saying that he was just here for a hall pass. And like that way Scotty could be justified, because he was clearly angry. And quite honestly, y'all, if you ever find yourself in a situation where somebody is looking at you like that, I need you to please swiftly exit stage left, because no part of the way Scotty was looking at Zaina was okay. I mean, especially since Zaina was like, are you okay? And he's still doing like this intimidation tactic. Like, he was staring at her for a good 5-10 minutes, it felt like, because she was able to ask him 2 questions and pause for an answer that he never really gave her, until finally he opened his mouth and was like, what did he say? Oh, when he finally, actually asked her, are you the one, or have I ever talked foolishness about JR to you? And she was like, like, he didn't even give her time to think for real. Talking about this is not a yes, or this is a yes or no question. This is not a let me think from my perspective. If this is not a let me think from my perspective, why are you asking her the question? See, Scotty is one of those people who knows which people to talk crazy to. In episode 1 into episode 2, he was talking crazy to Arya. This episode and the past episode, he was talking crazy to Zaina. First with the date ideas, because she didn't want to go basically get frozen like she's in Star Wars or Star Trek. And then she doesn't want to go into a hot air balloon because not everybody finds that enjoyable. But Scotty was talking mad crazy then, and he talking mad crazy now. But when he was talking to JR, because JR is the one who brought it up, Scotty did not have all this energy for JR. So you can buck up, you can talk mad crazy to the women, but you won't talk crazy to the men? Okay. And honestly, like, I've seen a lot of reviewers say something about Scotty they just could not like. This is it. Scotty was trying to play like he does not understand why Arya will not get over the fact that she does not like physical touch for him and all this other stuff, and like why the relationship is so rocky. He likes to act like he doesn't understand, but this is the problem. You're talking crazy to somebody instead of calmly being like, hey Zaina, this is what happened at guys night. JR brought up the fact that someone had told him that I said that he was just here for a hall pass, but I don't feel like I said something like that. Do you think, or have I said something like that to you? Maybe I just don't remember. There are ways you can navigate this conversation better than what Scotty did. And the way Scotty was acting, both in guys night when he was getting so defensive with JR asking that question, and now at the top of this episode, you aren't beating those allegations, Scotty. Like, at first I thought it was Nick, and honestly it might have still been Nick in some capacity, but I no longer believe that Scotty is completely innocent either. So Zaina says not directly. So you did say something crazy. You did say JR was probably just here for play. Because not directly can mean a plethora of things. But you know what it doesn't mean? You didn't say anything like that. So throughout that scene, Zaina is getting more and more annoyed because Scotty is continuing to badger her basically. And so Zaina is saying how she doesn't like that Scotty is taking his energy out on her. And he tries to deny that he's not, but he very clearly is. We are all watching you in 4K take out the anger and annoyance that you should have had for JR on Zaina. And then she asked if he's intimidated by JR. Now, this is where I said, oh, Zaina is like me, a petty queen. Zaina is like me. She's got a little sprinkle, little dash of petty in her. But honestly, I was thinking the same. Are you intimidated by JR? Why is his name always in your mouth, Scotty? Because Scotty was trying to say, well, no, the only one interested in JR is JR. The only one who cares about JR is JR. Okay, but if that was the case, Scotty, why are you always bringing him up? And then, so Zaina gets him all the way together. But at this point, I wanted Zaina to leave. Like, I'm glad that she got him together. But the way Zaina and Scotty are interacting in these last couple of days kind of reminds me of like Nick and Sandy, in that Scotty is using Zaina to help regulate his emotions. Like, it's not until Zaina's like, look, you need to take a breath, you need to calm down, and maybe we can have this talk a little bit later, that he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see the validity in that. Scotty, you were grown. You should be doing that yourself. In the earlier episodes, I did like them. I did. But the more we got to see Scotty for real, the more Scotty started getting a little relaxed in his relationship with Zaina, the more he gave me the ick. And this episode is a prime example of that, because Scotty, what are you doing? We pop over to Mariah and Nick. This is when we find out that Nick has always had a problem, what did it say, with emotional regulation. Okay, so I think this is the part where we find out that like Nick is aware that his past relationships, he'll start getting comfortable, he'll start pulling back, and then his partner will see that and want to start exiting stage left, and then here Nick come trying to pull them back. Like, no, actually, I love you still, come back, come, don't leave me. So you're aware that you do this, and yet you're still continuing to do this, and you're expecting Sandy not to leave, especially when she has now experienced what it is like to be with somebody other than you. That already sounds exhausting, but I feel like Sandy would not have had the epiphany that she could do better for herself if she had not come onto this experience that Nick brought them to. Child, ain't that wild? You drove up this mountain to save your marriage, only to hand your partner the keys to realize that life is better, that life could be better without you. I feel like Nick could not accurately name what he actually likes about Sandy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if Sandy is taken out of the equation, he's not going to mourn the loss of Sandy herself. He is going to mourn the loss of another partner. But can anybody tell me what Nick actually likes about Sandy? Because even on his dates with Vanessa, he said that they have a lot of things that work. What are they? I think we're also still on Nick and Mariah, but I wrote, why should Sandy put her anger aside so she can show up for Nick? Oh, because Nick is saying, so a little backstory, Nick is saying that he desires Sandy to show up for him the way that Sandy shows up for other people. But why should Sandy do that when Nick, every chance he gets, he spirals? Every chance that he's gotten, he's blown her phone up with texts, calls, calling, hanging up, showing up to their apartment, banging on the door, acting a fool, trying to guilt trip her into leaving. You're not putting any effort into showing Sandy that you could be a good man for her. Like, at every chance, I feel like Nick picks the wrong thing and then wants to act surprised when he does not get his desired outcome. Instead of calling her 1,000 times, you could have sent her a couple of texts. Past this bear in the store, and I know you love bears. Like, how is it that the Twitter warriors have better pickup lines than Nick? This ice cream doesn't taste the same because I'm not sharing it with you. There are simple things you could have done to show that you miss her and you care for her, and you love her like you claim, but instead when he does call her, it's always, why are you punishing me? What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. I love you, Sandy. No, Sandy may not be my favorite, but the way Nick acts, he's exhausting, and he's too grown to be acting this way. And then he keeps expecting people to feel bad for him. He is the one that issued the ultimatum, and he is the one that brought Sandy, a woman who is still very much so committed to the Coachella lifestyle. Nothing wrong with that. Where's the confusion? The math isn't adding up. We pop over to Sandy and JR. Sandy starts this interaction off by lying, okay? So Sandy tells JR that she just told Zaina that JR was a good man and that he still loves her very deeply and cares for her very deeply. That's not what Sandy said. That's not what Sandy said. Do these people not realize that when this show airs, they can pause, they can turn on the subtitles, they can rewind it back and watch it back? Because Sandy is caught in 4K saying that JR is still holding on to the demons of his past. Then JR brings up Nick saying Sandy, oh, okay, so at guys night, remember, also rewinding back, Nick had told JR, you think it's all just me, and it's not. Sandy is also texting me as well and saying that she misses me. And I guess he used that to justify his multiple crash outs. That's not an excuse for Nick's erratic behavior, quite honestly. Now, Sandy's not completely innocent, but just because she texted him that she missed him does not mean that he can therefore go out, pop up at their apartment acting a fool, blowing her up acting a fool, texting her, calling her, acting a fool. When JR brings this up to Sandy, Sandy does admit that she did text him. And then Sandy also goes on to say that Nick is different day to day. So like some days he'll own up to his erratic behavior, and then other days it's back to the same old routine. So like on Tuesday he could apologize and say, you know, I'm so sorry for the way I behaved, I'll never do it again. Wednesday he'll act like nothing ever happened, nothing has changed between them. And then Thursday he'll go back to the same erratic behavior patterns, and Sandy is stressed, Sandy's overwhelmed, Sandy said, I can't do this no more, I can't. And I'm assuming they've done this song and dance for the whole 3 years they've been together. But at this point I have to look at Sandy and say, why are you still with this man? This woman is not happy. She's probably staying out till 3, 4, 5 a.m. at the club because she does not want to go home. Because she did say in episode 1 that they are not living together yet, but it does sound like Sandy is over at his place more often than she is over at her own. So I don't know what that's about, I can only assume. But right now my assumption is that Nick expects her, or wants her, desires her, however you want to phrase it, to be over at his place. And so knowing that, Sandy stays out till 4 or 5 a.m. hoping that the man is asleep. She click clack up them stairs, she opened the door, and Nick is sitting there with the lamp on like a James Bond villain. Welcome home, darling. She's got to admit that this relationship is over. It's not serving her. She's seen that the grass is indeed greener on the other side. Maybe she doesn't leave with JR, but she gonna have to leave by herself. I do not want her back with Nick. I don't. And then Aria and Caleb meet Aria's brother, and Aria's brother asks how it's going. They say it's going smooth. I feel like I'm watching a rom-com when I look at Aria and Caleb. You know, in those Hallmark movies, those Lifetime movies sometimes, or even in books, when you're reading about two characters who are with two other people, but it's clear that they should be together instead. And so maybe you have like that prom scene where like they're each dancing with their partner, but they keep looking at each other, they keep catching each other's eye, and you can just feel the chemistry. That's how I feel with Aria and Caleb. Aria says that she was attracted to Caleb's mind the most, and that she appreciates how he listened and really paid attention during the little speed datings and stuff. And then Aria's sister-in-law, the way that she was looking at them as they were talking to each other, or talking about each other and about their connection, that's the way I was looking. Just cheesing. Just cheesing. Because this, oh my gosh, Aria and Caleb are a great example of strangers to friends to lovers. Guys, just, oh. And then Aria talks about how Scotty may feel attacked by her because he doesn't give her what she wants, which is accountability. And honestly, y'all, if you're trying to ask your partner to take accountability for what they said because it hurt you in some way or something like that, and they go the Scotty route, vehemently deny even doing the action, and then when they can't deny that, trying to turn it back around on you, you also need to exit stage left, okay? Because that's not a good partner, because that's somebody that does not care about your feelings. I just want Arya to be freed. Even if she doesn't go with Caleb, I need Arya to choose herself, because she does not need to choose Scotty. She doesn't. And then she also explains how Scotty, instead of apologizing right then when something happens, he'll wait like 2 to 3 business days and then he'll apologize. Like, it's funny, but it's not funny. That's annoying. But again, Scotty is not emotionally mature. She's also saying that she's hoping Scotty can see he has flaws too, and if they can't understand each other, then she will walk away. I'm hoping that she walks away, because Arya and Scotty are not compatible. I think in this episode, Scotty talks about his, or maybe in previous episodes, he talked about a desire for like physical touch and things like that, and Arya struggles with that. The way he brings it up makes it sound like that's a major part of affection for him. Right now, Arya cannot give that to him. And then on the flip side, Arya needs somebody who is patient. But the brother not being a fan of Scotty, telling. Especially how Arya talked about their father, and how the brother said that Scotty reminds him of their father, telling. We switch back over to Zaina and Scotty. I don't know why Zaina is still there, but okay, you know, well, okay. And then, you know, maybe she's just trying to, maybe she's counting down the days until she can get back with JR. But honestly, I would have called JR. The way that when Scotty first got back from guys night, the way he was looking at Zaina, if I were Zaina, I would have called JR immediately. Because what you're not about to do is play in my face. Scotty looked like he was ready to jump over that counter and start tussling. Even if it was just to say, or Mariah, I would have called somebody and said, can I stay with you for the rest of this process until the change over? Okay, because right now I do not feel comfortable staying here. But I also wish he would have called JR so that we could see if JR was really about his women, because he had a lot of smoke for Nick when Nick came up to their apartment and tried to bust up what he and Sandy had going on. So I'm assuming that he'd have that same smoke for Zaina, his girlfriend of 3 years. So he should have been popping up in there, helping Zaina get her stuff, and escorting her out either to him and, well, him and Sandy's apartment might have been a little weird, but like helping her walk, or walking her to Mariah's apartment, made sure she was straight, and then went back inside and told Scotty, don't you ever look at my woman like that again. And then turned back around and walked out the door. But maybe JR just isn't that kind of partner. Or maybe he's only like that for the people he actually liked. We know he liked that for Sandy, so. I wrote down that like Zaina was the ideal partner for Scotty, because she never let him get too far in his foolishness with the way he would try to talk crazy with her. But at the same time, I just feel like Scotty, why does Scotty want to be married? And then Scotty said he learned how to look for resolution, but how? Sandy and JR are on this walk, and then we see them kind of arguing a little bit over Nick, because JR is kind of annoyed that Nick is like a little ghost hovering over their relationship. Like, JR is trying to be in this marriage with Sandy, and yet Nick keep popping over his shoulder like a gremlin he can't get rid of. Like that. Now he look around every 5 seconds, Nick is somewhere. But JR did have a point when he said that Nick knows how to get to you. Talking about Sandy. Knows how to get to her in every way. I also said that this episode might be the first time, which is hilarious because it's almost over, but this episode might be the first time I see more than the physical connection that they have. Like, it's clear that their relationship was built off of like physical lust, but as they've spent time together, like maybe a little bit of like a friendship or something has developed there too. I still don't think it's something that could like stand the test of time, but I'm not gonna buy that they go like super deep, but I am gonna buy that it may be more than just physical for them. Arya and Caleb get each other gifts again. They keep teasing us with what could be. Nick gets a tattoo that says it's Latin. It's Latin for fortune favors the bold. And at first when I looked at it, because he made a big deal out of getting this tattoo, like he tried to act like, oh, this was a mistake, I was trying to get love conquers all, I'm assuming also in Latin, but he sent the tattoo artist the wrong picture and got fortune favors the bold. But the way Nick is laying, his arm is like up here and his head is turned away from his arm. But I would think, considering how permanent tattoos are, that you would like to observe the process, especially since I'm a fan of Milky Ways. It's a tangent, but I'm gonna bring it back. I'm a fan of Milky Ways, right? Milky Way had a commercial where this dude was tattooing this other person, and he ate a Milky Way, right? So he got distracted and it said no regrets instead of no regrets, and the dude looked down and he was like, no regrets? No, you're gonna change this. You're gonna change this. What the heck am I supposed to do with that? But the dude was so absorbed in his Milky Way he wasn't paying attention. I don't see candy or anything else, or steak dinner or anything else that could distract Nick from getting "Fortune favors the bold" in Latin on the inside of his arm. Because he looked at it and the tattoo artist was like, no, what the heck, what happened? Nick says it was a mistake, but I don't, because I even had to go back and rewatch. I said "Fortune favors the bold" because at first I looked it up on Google, because I said, what, Fortis, what? What is that? I looked on Google and it said "Fortune favors the bold." I said, where have I heard that before? Oh, JR has that same tattoo in a similar place. It's giving Fatal Attraction. If you've ever watched that movie on, I believe it's Netflix, or maybe it's on Hulu, where the girl ends up cheating on her husband with her old flame from like college or something, and then she goes back to her husband because she's like, they meet up, I think they sleep together once, and she's like, I can't do this, I have a family and everything else. So she goes back to her family, but the dude is like, you thought you could just discard me like an old pair of socks? I think not. So he goes and he does this elaborate scheme to basically like off her whole family, and so that he can get her by herself and he can go and they continue their whirlwind fantasy, because to him their fantasy never ended. Like, she went all no contact and everything, but he said, no baby, you're never getting rid of me. Never. I will be your new husband, okay? I will replace your husband. We can have another kid. Like, you can live in my house. That's kind of what Nick is giving. Like, if you like JR so much, I'll just become him. I'll just replace him, and then you'll love me too. You see how crazy that sounds? We go back over to Zaina and Scotty. Zaina talks about how she ran into Aria at the gym, and she talked about how like Scotty was basically badgering her, and Aria Aria discloses that like she's been talking to Zaina, she's been talking to JR, like every time the castmates, I was gonna say contestant, every time the castmates run into each other, they're exchanging words. So Scotty, you definitely must have said something. And then Scotty, because he has no legitimate rebuttal for that, so he tries to frame it that no, he knows that Zaina was the one spreading those malicious rumors, because Zaina gets up at 1:30 a.m. and goes to the bathroom and takes her phone with her. So she obviously is not up in there playing Candy Crush or watching TV or reading a sports column or something. No, she's in there texting JR. You see how dumb that sounded? That's how Scotty sounded when he brought this up, because Zaina was like, what are you talking about? First of all, I don't bring my phone to the bathroom. Second of all, why are you clocking what time I get up to use the bathroom? It's giving very much so, dang, I am a grown woman. I wanted Zaina so bad to just say, I'm a grown woman, who do you think you're talking to? But she didn't. She took the more mature route, kind of, sort of. She kept going back and forth with him, but I was like, girl, cut it. At this point, don't say anything. Let Scotty talk to the wall. Let Scotty talk to the mirror. Let Scotty talk to himself, because I think they were going back and forth, and at one point Zaina said, talking to myself would make more sense than talking to you, period. Zaina brings up that she talked to Aria and like probably trying to say like, look, why would you suspect me when everybody's talking to everybody? Like, you jumped down my throat for what? And Scotty gets so defensive about that he tries to switch it up on Zaina in any way he knows how, trying to say, do better, you can't gaslight me. And I'm like, Scotty, you're doing too much. But I also was looking at Zaina like, girl, pack your stuff faster. They're their whole exchange, because at one point they were in the bedroom and the bathroom respectively, and then like they cut to where like Scotty is sitting on the couch and Zaina is at the island, and Zaina is clocking that he does not take accountability, which Aria has been saying for the better part of this whole experiment. He is allergic to accountability. If accountability is in the room, Scotty is not there. And how he says, you know, like, you can't stop trying to gaslight me, and Zaina was like, not a gaslighter trying to say that I'm gaslighting you. And then Scotty tries to act confused, like, a gaslighter? I'm not a gaslighter, what are you talking about? Okay, alright, that's gaslighting 101. His whole behavior was gaslighting 101. And then she called him immature and a child, and I said, exactly, finally. And then she says that she's going to spend her time somewhere else. I'm just glad that Zaina got out of there, quite honestly. But I don't even want them to show up together for for the changeover dinner. I don't. I want them to appear as separate cars, as a little like aside. Like, I do think that it's very sad when Scotty brought up how his last conversation with his dad, he carries guilt over that because he never got that final chance to tell his dad that he loved him before he passed away. With that being said, that might play into his repulsion to taking accountability, but that does not excuse his behavior. And I feel like Scotty could benefit a lot from going to therapy and really unpacking his deeper rooted issues, whatever they may be, because not taking accountability is only surface level. And I wish that Netflix sprung for some money to have a therapist on site so that these people could talk to somebody, because honestly all of them could benefit from talking to a specialist. All of them could, or not a specialist, an expert. Zaina is another one that I low-key want to choose herself too, so I need to see what happens in episodes 7 and 8 to see if they are a good match. We cut back to Caleb and Aria for the last time. Caleb talks about how he was worried that he wouldn't make a good husband, therefore a good father, and that's why he has been so opposed to marriage. That was so sad to hear. That was so sad to hear, but so real to say, because it's okay to feel like that. It is, especially because I get the sense that like Caleb has not been getting the reassurances that he needs to take that next step. Like, Aria looked him dead in the face and said, no, you would make a fantastic husband. It looked like relief on his face when she said that. Like, you could just tell that hit home for him, because he does worry about that. I'm assuming he worries about that so much because the way he brought it up, you could just tell that that was weighing on him. And then we cut to like all the couples arriving for changeover dinner. Zaina is excited to see JR because she's tired of Scotty. Me too, girl. Me too, girl. But JR is not excited to see Zaina. He and Sandy, up until the moment that they walk in, from the little clip we got of them in the car, they are still very much so enamored with each other. And that's where the episode ends. So quite honestly, y'all, at this point in the ultimatum, I kind of want everybody to choose themselves. I don't think that any of these people are ready to be married, quite honestly. Scotty issued the ultimatum with him and Aria, but we still have yet to hear why he thinks that he's ready to be a husband. Nick issued the ultimatum to Sandy. We still have not heard why Nick would be a good husband. Zaina has issued the ultimatum to JR, but again, we haven't heard on her side. She said she's ready to be a wife. Why is she ready to be married to JR? Caleb and Mariah issued the ultimatum. We have not heard specifically why she wants to be married to Caleb. Do you want to be married, or do you just want to have a tie to somebody who will not leave you? The people who issued the ultimatum, why do you want to be married to your partner specifically? Or do you just want a stand-in Lego partner where it could be anybody? You can plug and play anybody and you would still be happy as a bug on road to be married. But thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye, y'all.